down to it and shoot for the sky.
All right, and we're live. Hello and welcome to the Ring Post Daily Podcast. You're listening to myself, the RPD Prophecy Champion, Jesse Henrik, the Ring General, Eddie Wade, and our special guest tonight, Trista Silks, the owner and head booker of HWF. How are you doing tonight, ma'am?
I'm good. How are you guys?
I'm doing wonderful.
Can't complain here.
Fresh off the back of a victory to keep this guy in my possession. I'm about to cross the line to be the longest reigning champion RPD has ever had, so I'm feeling good. But that is not what we're talking about tonight. Tonight we have a very, very special announcement. It's just going to throw it out there. Ring Post Daily and the Honorary Wrestling Federation have decided to come together, and we will be doing a little bit of sponsorship between each other. What that's going to entail is you're going to see, for our audience, you're going to see more HWF wrestlers on here and talents in general. You're also going to have access as they come about. So, for instance, this next show, Remains, coming up in January, you are going to have, after a couple days pass, that's going to be uploaded to our Facebook, and you are going to have that show in its entirety. So you will actually be able to experience these shows if you're not able to in person, whether that's because you just can't make it or if you're out of the state like we are. It's going to be a great opportunity for cross promotion for both of our brands. You might see a little bit of us over in HWF via satellite and whatnot. So we're very excited about this. Trista, do you have any thoughts?
Oh, we are super excited. It gets promotion for both of our companies to get out there more, and it, like you said, it allows people to see our product without being here.
Absolutely. Yeah, and that's, we are a very small company. We make no bones about that. We just started in January, so we understand that you guys are definitely giving us a leg up, and we appreciate that. But the one thing we can do for you guys is we can try to get as many eyes that aren't in your general vicinity out there. So as many of those fans as we can pull in for you, we really want to do that for you guys, because you guys are doing amazing work over there, and we really appreciate you.
Thank you. We appreciate you guys.
Well, thank you. We try our best. For those unaware, unfortunately, Tyreek and Joey were unable to make this episode tonight, so we send our best to them, and they will be on next week. But getting into this, for the kind of first question, can you tell us a little bit about yourself? How did you get into the industry? And then how did you come about owning the HWF?
Well, it's pretty simple. Just a mom, wife, just a normal person. But to get into HWF, that goes mainly back to my husband. He started wrestling way before me, but when I got with him, he was still into it. And over the years, he backyarded many people around here know that's where wrestling came in this area. And after he grew out of that, he became a pro wrestler. And not shortly, he took some time off, and then he wanted to start again. And the only way we could do it was in our own way.
Exactly.
So we started HWF.
That's awesome. And I know it's definitely, it's when we last talked to you guys, when we talked to Matt a couple weeks back, he talked about how, the area really, could use somebody like you guys to kind of give Mifflin County a leg up, because, Mifflin County, from what we understand from Matt, hasn't always been, known as a very, nice place to live. So the fact that you guys decided to start a company in that area and really, lift that community up, that's really awesome of you guys. And that's part of the reason why we like you guys so much. So
Well, thank
Mm,
you.
thank you guys. So so you as well as some of the talent from HWF have been traveling to PWX recently, Pro Wrestling Express. Can you tell us a little bit about that relationship between the two companies? Is that something that's done on a case by case, or do you guys have sort of a deal in place? Do you talent share?
No, that I could share. We started with my husband going to wrestle, and we thought that we could help that wrestling company a lot with just small little things that we think the fans would appreciate, the other wrestlers that come in appreciate, and it has gone from wrestling once a month to twice a month, and also now I am CEO of PWX as
Oh,
well.
oh, wow. Well, then we'll have to add that to your resume
Good.
as well. Hey,
Yes, that's a real invention.
and maybe that'll open up some opportunities to get some PWX wrestlers over here and such. So, hey, the fact if you know people in this business, you can move mountains. You just got to know people.
Very true.
All right. So anything else you wanted to share about that? Is there any future plans? Maybe you guys could like do a Pro Wrestling Express versus Honorary Wrestling Federation show. That would be cool.
Oh yes, we we actually have a show this weekend, Saturday, that we are traveling up there for. I do believe their 29th
Oh
anniversary.
wow. Okay. Okay. So this is a question that Ty would have asked you before. So this is for him. What is the ratio between making booking decisions for fans, so kind of fan service, versus making decisions for the actual business to kind of move things forward? What's that kind of sweet spot for you? And do you think there's one that's more important than the other?
Um, Well, no, they're both important, greatly important. You want to know what your fans want and to bring that in, but obviously you don't want to do what's going to hurt your business. So you kind of have to go back and forth between is it good for business and will the fans get behind it?
Absolutely. Okay. Um, and then Eddie, if you want to go ahead.
I was going to ask you, what are some of the smaller and like lesser known responsibilities of all those hats for one company? It's like CEO, head booker, and all that. What's like the less talked about responsibilities?
The less talked about would be when I go to bed, when I get up in the morning, the very next day for a show. How many times I travel from the venue to wherever it is that I need to go to get something, to just at the paperwork. There is so much paperwork people don't understand. It's not just putting the show on and then going home happy. It's you have to behind the scenes. You have to put all that together and make sure everything's in the book. That way, you're doing it professionally and right and by the law.
Fair enough. Is there a wrestling commission in Pennsylvania? I know in some of the southern states there is. So you kind of mentioned the law there.
Yes, there is a state athletic commission, and they have rules and regulations that I have to provide by. And I mean, it's a list on list, and you have to make sure everything is done right, or there is no
Oh
show.
wow. All right. Well, then very important
Yes,
then.
very.
Next, Eddie.
Another question I was going to ask: who are some of your favorite bookers, like current, retired, on the independents, just in general, like your favorite bookers?
Ooh, I I don't think I have a favorite. I kind of watch. since I became a promoter and booker myself, as we go out, I kind of just watch how the shows are put together, the way that people are interacting. I I watched Rob Noxious run shows for years. Um, Jason Havoc, he's a big one. TWX, I go and I watch behind the scenes, and I really keep my eyes open on things, and I just watch everybody really. I don't have a favorite, I would say.
Okay. You know who's really surprised me? Just kind of getting sort of having them on my radar this year because of the Wrestlers Netflix series that came out. But Al Snow running OVW, just seeing kind of the inner workings of how he's made definitely made chicken salad with chicken. You know what? Just looking at his inner workings, it's amazing to see what you guys, as bookers have to go through sometimes. But
Oh yeah, I mean there's plenty.
oh, go ahead.
Oh, there's plenty that promoters go through that even the wrestlers themselves don't see the behind the scenes stuff that happens before shows, and I mean we dealt with a lot to even be where we are today.
Absolutely. And I'm sorry, how long have you had the Honorary Wrestling Federation open?
Um, ooh, okay. What I want to say 2021,
Okay.
3 years,
Okay. So you guys are still relatively young
but
as a company. But that means you're hungry.
yes,
All
very.
right. Um I'm going to kind of throw a bonus question at you because I forgot to add it to my list and I can't believe I did. But I'm sure, to be in the business, you got to be a fan to some degree. So, do you have a personal or Mount Rushmore of wrestlers? Can be male, female, what have you, managers, just a Mount Rushmore of the
I
wrestling business.
actually was I was actually hoping that you would ask me this because I heard you ask my husband and everything, and I started thinking about it. What would be my Mount Rushmore? So I kind of have a mix between old, new, guys, girls.
Okay,
So one, Charlotte Flair. Absolutely, Charlotte Flair would be on there.
absolutely.
Right beside her would be um, Natty. She, I love
Very
Natty.
underrated.
She's probably one of my favorites.
She was definitely a
Very
she was
underrated.
definitely one of those bright stars in a dark sky. Her and Michelle McCool during those early to mid kind of 2010 era. It was a very um it was a treat to watch them on the screen versus some of the material that the other women were going through because they brought an
Oh
air of
yeah, and even
legitimacy.
nowadays, nowadays you look at her and no, she might not be main eventing WrestleMania, Raw, or even SmackDown, but she is putting the young wrestlers over like no other wrestler,
Absolutely.
and she is happy to do so.
It's
And I feel like she's one to have her do just about anything and she'd crush it.
absolutely. And it's interesting because
Exactly.
she's been pitching for years, kind of on social media and in interviews and things like that. She's been pitching that she wants to do a faction. And I can't believe that WWE hasn't taken her and like put her down in either NXT, which I think would really work well with like the young ladies down there to get them some exposure and some time with a veteran, but or even on the main roster. I can't believe they haven't utilized that idea of hers yet. So, but who knows? That's fuel for the tank, I suppose. But definitely a Hall of Famer.
Oh, yeah, oh, I would surely hope so. For as much as she's given that business, I hope to see her in the Hall of Fame one day.
That's
But
two.
then I got two more spots. That's right. That's two. Undertaker absolutely has to go on there.
All right.
I mean, how can't he?
Yeah, absolutely.
And then The last one, that one was a little tricky because there's so many good wrestlers, and I'd probably have to go with one of my husband's favorites, not on his Mount Rushmore, but Randy Orton.
Okay.
He is a legend.
And he's the legend killer.
Exactly. I mean, look at his return. Of course,
Yeah.
CM Punk was in there too, but let's not.
Phenomenal return
Down.
It
over
was
this
Orton's
last week.
turn.
He looks so good coming back. Like it's gonna take me a while to not wince every time he does an RKO because I know the problems with his back and then landing on his back every time. Um, but yeah, I mean he just looks so good. He must have put on a solid 10 pounds of muscle while he was out. And I mean when you're out for a year and a half, you have nothing better to do. So, but yeah, no, it's
If I'm not
Right, and
rumors that he wasn't coming back too.
yeah, well, it wasn't
Like,
even rumors. It was Cowboy Bob Orton, his father, saying
I,
that the doctors were advising him not to come back. So it's amazing that here in 2023 we have Randy Orton back on our screens.
but was that him just playing all of us? I mean, he is a
I
worker.
mean, that's very possible, but I would hope that in today's day and age that we wouldn't take something as seriously like that and use it for a work. But that's just me.
Very true, but I mean, they've used dead people all the time. I mean, it's they use dead people, they use hurt, they use everything. I mean, you can use everything and anything for a storyline
Yeah,
nowadays.
that's very true. I don't know. Knowing, how long he's been in the industry, I would just hope that Bob Orton would know better than to do that. Because it wasn't even like on WWE TV or anything. Like he's not, to my knowledge, I don't even think he's on a Legends deal or anything with them. So he's not really affiliated with them. So there'd be no reason for him to do a work. But hey, it's possible.
Well, unless he didn't want anyone to know he was coming back.
Also true.
I'd appreciate if my parents were like, "Oh no, I don't know if she'd return." Because if they say, "Oh yeah, she'll return," they'll be like, "Oh well, we know she's gonna come back."
Very, very true. Taking that as a spin-off, you talk about being there as a personality. Have you ever thought about stepping in the ring? I mean, with your blossoming women's division that you have now. Oh,
No,
come on.
absolutely not. If you would like to see me in the ring, you can go to our YouTube channel, um, HWF, and you can actually find, I do believe, 2011 or 2012, Matt dropping me with a RKO
Nice.
in the ring.
That's awesome. But I don't know. I was just thinking. I mean, it's a very it's a very hard ingrained pro wrestling trope that the owner eventually has to go through their heel phase and put the title on themselves so that you can get your top baby face over. I mean, it's a Stone Cold
Well,
and Vinny. Come on.
it's a little different with our company though. If I'm the heel and I go to put it on the baby face, I'm just going to put it on my husband.
That
How would that
I
work?
mean, that's true, but what if it's a women's title? You have like I said, you have a blossoming
Well,
women's division.
right now, that's true, but unfortunately, I don't have a baby face at the moment. They are like cats at each
They
other right
are.
now. We couldn't even say Merry Christmas
I just saw that video
without
today.
them
I
starting.
just saw that video today where it's supposed to be like Merry Christmas, Happy New Year from HWF, and those two are just they want to bump heads.
Yes, they do.
I know you guys are kind of building your women's division, and this isn't something that was a question or what have you, but just another lady that we had interviewed earlier this year. She's on the Pennsylvania circuit, which is Shelby Waters. Have you ever seen any of her stuff? Maybe that's somebody that you could look into bringing in eventually.
Um, I don't believe I
She's
have.
with
I
high.
don't.
She,
Where's she?
she's
So
with High Ground Pro Wrestling.
Okay.
So I don't know if that's a competitor or
No, I have
anything,
not. Oh,
but
no,
but
they're truly competitors are everyone.
okay. Yeah, I don't know. It's just it's something in me
Well,
that
you gotta.
wants me.
We compete with football.
Yeah, it's something in me that just wants me to see our friends working together, like making the Avengers of pro wrestling personalities coming together under this one RPD web in some way, shape, or form. But yeah, no,
Oh yeah, no, I'll definitely have to look.
she's currently out on maternity leave. She's expecting a little one here in January, so but in a couple months she might be looking for work. So who knows? But anyway, moving on. So getting back to questions from unfortunately people who weren't able to be here tonight. This is a question that I loathe asking. I truly do. But for the sake of my most generous co-host Joey Hudson, I have to ask, as a wrestling personality and as a fan, do you acknowledge your tribal chief Roman Reigns?
Well, of course I do. Who doesn't?
That's going to make him a very happy man.
We'll have a very happy Joey.
Yes, yes, he will be very happy to hear that he's working with somebody who
Roman
actually does acknowledge
Reigns.
the tribal chief. All right, and then Eddie, go ahead.
I have a question, and anybody who's wanting to get into pro wrestling or is looking for somewhere else to work, this is where y'all need to listen. But who are some or what is the recruitment process to like become a HWF talent?
Well, we have different ways. Mainly, we've had wrestlers get a hold of us through HWF Facebook. We have an email that we've gotten some resumes through. But personally, the way I like to get our talent here is I want to see them work. I want to get to know them there at a show so I know what I'm working with because resume is just words, videos is a video. You're a good worker, but how are you? Like, we don't want to bring negativity into our locker room. We have a very family oriented locker room and everybody gets together very nicely and it's just a very good time. So I like to personally see my workers.
All right.
I like that. That's a good
Yeah,
answer.
no, that makes perfect sense because you don't want to bring in, somebody who doesn't have the company's best interest at heart. So, um, yeah, that makes sense. Um, so I kind of got to ask, what is it about HWF that has allowed you guys to be as successful as you have? Obviously, there are indies that are popping up, everywhere. And then in the same amount that they come in, there's a bunch of other indies that are tearing down. That's the nature of the business. But, you guys, as you said, you came in, about 3 years ago, you came in and, you survived the pandemic, obviously. So, what is it about you guys that has been, made it able for you to, you know, as your next show suggests, remain? Have that's been able to, keep you guys in business and be successful.
Well, I honestly, one is our production. We take it very seriously. Every show you will see something new that we are doing at our shows. Um, we like to make sure that our wrestlers that we do have coming in are happy, but more importantly, we make sure that our fans here in town know that when they come to our show that they're going to see what they want to see and just have a good time and we just continue. And also, I think it's that we get involved in our community. We love Lewistown, and we feel that it is a better town now than it was years and years ago, and that we want something for the younger generation to do, and the older. I mean, the older ones come too. They love wrestling. Like, I
Absolutely.
mean, this Lewistown is a town that loves wrestling.
Yeah, no, that makes perfect sense. And you talk about how the elder generation also enjoys wrestling. That's very true. I mean, you hear everybody talk about the very important 18 to 49 demographic when it comes to wrestling, but there is a very strong also 49 plus demographic that's kind of the backbone of professional wrestling, whether it's you know helping others get into it or just watching it themselves. I don't think we've talked to one person throughout the course of this last year who hasn't said, oh, my grandma got me into it. A lot of grandmas, or my dad watched it, or something like that.
My I remember it being on at my grand's house when I was really little. It was Undertaker, and I can't remember who he was wrestling, but we were watching it. I can't remember if it was my dad, my cat, whoever was obviously the F word, saying, oh, it's safe, and obviously the older kids, they're done watching it, and I just kind of stopped with them. But yeah, I mean, your grandparents are the ones that really love it, but what people don't understand nowadays is you don't have to do what they exactly seen back in the day when they were watching wrestling, but you want to bring them in with slightly an elevated
Absolutely.
version of that.
I find it so interesting though that we have so many people say my grandma got me into it. Just I'm thinking back to my own grandma and trying to get her to watch two big burly men in their underwear beating each other up. I can't imagine my grandma enjoying that. But I love that so many other grandmas and grandpas and such did, and that's why we have this flourishing industry that we do. Because make no mistake about it.
Yeah, my grandma, Roman Reigns as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah, make no mistake about it. The pro wrestling industry is just huge right now. Whether it's the independents, it's the actual national brands out there, the international brands in some cases. Pro wrestling has never been bigger. So it's a really exciting time to not only be a fan, but then for us also to be trying to carve out this very small niche we have of talking to independent wrestlers and working with independent companies. So it's a very exciting time, and this is our last show of the year, and I think we've knocked it out of the park this year, and we are so hungry to get back next year and interview even more people and work with even more companies. So, but we really appreciate you, Trista, for opening up your organization to help us do that. You know, um, when we had the Sons of Mifflin on, we really enjoyed that episode. That was one of our best. So, we really appreciate you guys. Uh,
Oh, we appreciate you guys. It it's gonna change the game for both of us, I believe, with us coordinating with our shows and getting that out and getting you some guests of different kinds. I mean, we have plenty that work for us that I'm sure they'd love some airtime themselves to get themselves over, maybe get them some new bookings even.
Absolutely. And I can tell you right off the top of my head, two people I'm really interested in talking to if they're listening or if they see this later on, Sledge Gibson and Philip Stamper. I want to talk to both of you. So get in touch with me. Get in touch with Trista. If you hear this, come on, 2024, baby. So
Maybe I can talk to my president and see if we can work something out. But I mean, I need to have a conversation with him myself with our last show. So maybe that'll work
all right.
out.
And hell, even if they would be able to agree to the terms, I would love to get Mr. Philip Stamper and Rodney Deal as a face-to-face interview. I think that would be a hell of a lot of fun.
Um, that would definitely be. Maybe we'll have to try to.
Might have to put in some will not will not scream profanity or will not drive to the other's house clauses in there, but
Definitely have to put that in there, or maybe just tell Phil he can't cut people's hair.
hey, whatever works. Um, But anywho, we know you're an extremely busy woman, so we won't keep you any longer. But do you have any parting thoughts? And where can everybody find not only HWF's content, but also if they wanted to get in contact with you, where can they find you as well?
Well, parting thoughts are thank you so much for allowing me to come on here and just chit chat
Absolutely.
about what I do. I mean, a lot of people, they see me come and go, but some don't know what I actually do. So I appreciate it that I could get there and show people that I'm not just the pencil pusher, that
Well,
I do get involved with the
if
wrestling.
I can be so bold, you're not a very imposing force for those who don't know you. So we know who you are and what you do and the power you have. But to the unsuspecting viewer, they're just like, oh, she's helping out with this. She's she's Matt's wife or what have you. But no, that's not how it works. So I think you're just very disarming to people.
Yeah, I've been told I've been told that I have that people don't like to approach all the time. I mean, I'm focused on what I'm doing at the
All
time.
right. Well, like I said, we understand who you are and what you do. So,
100%. Yeah.
and then where can people find
And
you and HWF?
you can find us on Facebook through Trista Silks. I do have a fan page that I try to get on as much as I can. And then we have HWF Honorary Wrestling Federation Facebook. We also are on Twitter. Still haven't gotten the hang of that one. I think
Neither have
I'm in the
we.
generation of the Facebook page. So it's a little different. We do try to post on there. And then obviously our YouTube, we post videos all the time. We do have a road tale story that just kind of follows us along as we go through the different shows that we do and even some of the backstage that we do here at HWF.
All right. And just as a side note, now that we have exposed this partnership and we're going to go live with it, so to speak, you can also find a link to the HWF's Facebook page by following our tap link, which is on all of our social media, I believe. So you just click it, and then you see Honorary Wrestling Federation, and it's right there. So, but
Nice. I'll definitely have to look at that
oh
myself.
yeah, I know. I could set you up. It's wonderful. It's free. Most importantly, it's free. But yeah, no, it can you can link
Oh,
anything you need to
just
it.
like great.
But from myself, Jesse Hendrick, your RPD prophecy champion, your RPD ring general, Eddie Wade, and Miss Trista Silks, the Honorary Wrestling Federation owner, head booker, and as we just learned, the CEO of PWX. This has been the Ring Post Daily Podcast, and we thank you for your time. Happy wrestling. Goodbye.